Hasbro has to be one of the worst companies for fantasy gaming out there. I mean, what they've done to Dungeons and Dragons and to Magic the Gathering over the last several years has been atrocious. I mean, what do we got going now? So there's a new corporate earnings call, and the Hasbro CEO actually is promising they want to feminize Magic the Gathering even further by, quote, poking into the romantic. He said a lot more in this earnings call, which we'll get into in a moment, but this is not good news for Magic the Gathering fans. Very interestingly, at the exact same time, they just released their biggest set that's ever sold, the Final Fantasy crossover. And this is what they're doing with both brands, D&D and Magic, is they're crossing over with these other brands and all that to just get people of those brands to buy things. It ends up being like a collector's model sort of thing. They're doing a Spider-Man set next. And so it's just them kind of making Magic not even its own setting anymore, making nothing special about it, and just doing all these like brand IPs. You know, you remember when they did this with Lord of the Rings and did it very, very poorly. That's kind of what they're doing. They like to farm out and license these kind of things because it's really easy to make money that way. And it is just a quick cash grab every single time. Now, it has worked with this Final Fantasy set. I mean, there's boxes going online for over $1,000 at this juncture. It's crazy how people resonated with that and wanted that. And I actually liked the Final Fantasy. I'm a big TCG player, if you guys don't know, and I loved the Final Fantasy card game when it came out. Did you guys ever play that? I know it's still going, but I haven't played it in years, and it was very hard to find when it came out. It sold out immediately, even with its first deal. So Final Fantasy as a brand doing very, very well. Now, Magic and D&D and the like as a brand not doing so well, and that's why they're, of course, doing these cash grabs to reach out. But they want to push into different demographics, and they're just showing that they've learned nothing over the past few years. So let's get into what he said in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us as we talk about all things in fantasy. This is your real fantasy news, my friends. And I have a fantasy book right here, and even though I've got it labeled as a book 5, it is standalone. And so I listen to my fans because they liked there's a male main character in the Adventures of Baron von Monocle series named James Gentry. And he was kind of the secondary character in the first novel. And people said, I would love to see him on his own adventures. And so what I did was I wrote his own adventures. I listened to my fans, and they said, this is what you want. Now, I actually released these originally as 3 different novellas, and the first one was called Night Training. And that was actually my first #1 bestseller when Night Training came out. And this is the compilation of all 3 of them. You can read them by themselves, or they work within the series. It's pretty great. It's also available on audiobook, which makes it very easy for you guys. But this is available for 99 cents just today. I think maybe it ends tomorrow. I can't remember. I had it on sale over the weekend for this Men's Books Awareness Month. And I would love for you to check this out and get in on my series. If you like this, you're going to love the whole series. Go back and read it. It's good stuff. Thanks for being here. Check it out and grab it on ebook, print, or audio today. And that's in the description below. And if you like Final Fantasy too, I think you're going to absolutely love this. I have a lot of references because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, as mentioned. All right, thanks for being here, guys, and thanks for reading. So this is, I took a picture of this. Yes, they have like a gay set also because they're really trying to push the identity politics on Magic and have been for a long, long time. If you guys don't remember the big controversy they did with the Lord of the Rings set back in the day, they changed Aragorn into a black dude. And they did that intentionally because they wanted to Black Lives Matter. They wanted, of course, to change the culture, in that sort of way. And they do this. They push the LGBTQ crap. They push. They have a planeswalker who's like a tranny at this juncture. They have of course, that set from, and then they have this one, which is just gross. And they keep trying to force this kind of thing into everything. And it's because they don't like their demographic. Like, and the guy who ran D&D's brand for a long time said this too. He did a video where he was talking to some, of course, black D&D players on YouTube, thought nobody was watching it, and said he wanted white people like him out of the hobby, and that he didn't like the fact that the makeup was mostly white dudes in a basement. And it's like, okay, well, that is your brand, and that's who likes these type of games. Magic the Gathering's the same. Like, it's mostly white dudes who were into this game and are into this game at this juncture. And I don't even believe their demographic statements when they say what it is, as we'll get into the earnings call. But Hasbro had its Q2 earnings call on July 23rd. And, of course, I got the full transcript of it as they went off on this here. Hasbro's stock over the last year, it's a little up. And this is this all hit early on, and it doesn't really have to do with Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering. That's a small portion of their brand. When I went in and I actually saw what they were doing before, They actually make most of their money off this Monopoly game that's like an online, almost gambling game, where people just feed money into that game as a mobile app. Believe it or not, that's like one of their biggest profit centers. Very, very wild. So they were struggling. Like this around here in March is where their last year's earnings came out, and it was like, oh, we're in big trouble. And they actually showed that in 2024 they did underperformed, and it was largely on the heels of Magic the Gathering and the new D&D edition flopping is what was happening. Now the Final Fantasy set came out, did very, very well. That Monopoly game's covering up for things. D&D doesn't have any products that they're really developing. They slashed all their staff. There were tons of layoffs going on, and so investors are a little more optimistic about what's going on, but I don't know that they should be, given what was going on with this earnings call right here. So as they talked about this, the CEO, Chris Cox, announced that he wants more women involved in Magic the Gathering and started talking about this. So they've done quite a bit with these recent collaborations. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Sonic the Hedgehog, Spider-Man. These are all big money makers because, like I said, they're relying on other brands and other collectors of other brands to bring in people to Magic. And so that is like their big strategy that they've been doing. But he wants to do this and do a hard turn into female catering properties. So what he says, Magic does better than most hardcore games or enthusiast games in terms of penetration with people who identify as female. These people and the way they phrase things. Penetration of people identify as female. Okay, whatever. I'll leave that alone. But we'll still have a ways to go there. He says, I think about 30% of the player base today are women. I think that's BS. There's no possible. I've been into hobby shops and I go regularly. There's not 30% women there. There's like a dude's girlfriend and maybe one other girl in there, and that's it. That's what you get in these Friday night Magic sort of setups that they have playing on there. I would say 90% of the is male and white male at that, and then you get a few others. Yeah, you get more maybe some Asian men too. But beyond that, that is the demographic that you're looking at. Because this is, in its essence, like a violent fantasy war game. That's the whole concept of it. It's not going to appeal to women no matter how hard you try to with little gay dudes kissing on the cards or things like that. That's only going to turn off your current base, right? And so we're also looking to IPs that could have some resonance there because they'd like to increase their female demographics. So they are, again, chasing a modern audience. They're chasing that dragon, guys, and they want to make it different than it actually is, and they want the audience to be different than it actually is because they think you're just going to buy it anyway, and he kind of alludes to that too. But he says, don't be surprised if you see us poking into romantic. Don't be surprised if you see us looking at K-pop bands. Nothing's off the table. Oh, boy. And so this is really crazy. And always trying to push their core demographics to chase these modern audiences always causes problems. And I always love to use this example. Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy's leadership is the clearest example. She did that whole, the Force is female. We got the Acolyte, which is, an anti-white male Star Wars. And that's exactly what Rey Skywalker is. Super divisive. And what's it done? It's killed the brand. It really has. Even Ubisoft's out there going, gosh, we can't make Star Wars games sell because they've killed the Star Wars brand. It's pretty obvious. So the earnings call revealed Magic actually still has this, and the Final Fantasy set with their crossovers is actually working for sales. It is the best-selling Magic the Gathering set in history. It's sold out everywhere. It's got unopened boxes going for over $1,000, like I said. Absolutely crazy. And this is from appealing to the existing players' interest, not chasing new demographics. Final Fantasy and Magic crossover. It is the same group of players that play that kind of thing. That's why I'm trying to appeal to you, because I think if you like Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering, you're going to love this book. That's the whole reason I make this YouTube channel. You are my demographic that I know will enjoy reading this, right? And so it makes sense, and that's exactly why it did well. So they are just totally not paying attention to this. They're off like doing their stupid corporate thing where they think they can take a property like this and make it appeal to women and appeal to minorities and appeal to LGBTs, and that's going to fix things. And that never fixes things. That modern audience isn't there, and they're all broke. They don't want to spend their money on this. That's the real truth. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Absolutely crazy. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in the fantasy news, and do check out the Steam Night. It's in the description below. You're going to love this. If you like Magic, if you like Final Fantasy, thanks for being here, guys. We'll be back soon.